Oh, would you look at that? Another shrouded unboxing experience, which Mo has been very sneaky about. He's like, okay, we're ready. Everything is ready to go. It's square. Solid, surprisingly. Whoa. We have like a box made out of wood here and a number of kind of patterns and shapes. This looks handmade. We've also got these little tablets. This is the way. I have spoken. Do these all say different things? They do. Navarro, Naboo, N1, Starfighter. This must have something to do, it's another one of these puzzle situations. On the box also states, this is the way. This is, like, I can feel the carving. That's carved in there. Now, obviously, as I've told you in the past, I have watched Mandalorian, and that's the famous "This is the way." So I think there's a Star Wars aspect to this experience. Now, this drawer is locked. There's a hinge here. And another drawer. It's a 2-drawer situation, and they're both locked. What do these tablets do? I don't want to put it too far in. I don't want to lose it. Oh. True, false. There's some sort of a game here. This whole thing. I was looking at that hinge, but I thought that was just to set it up. Oh, jeez. That is heavy. Whoa. Wow. What a package. So this is gonna be a trivia game, and I'm gonna need to complete it in order to unlock the new ROG gaming laptops, of which there are 2 of them installed inside, but protected behind this glass. I don't know if I know the answers to all these things. I mean, I watched the show, but I don't even remember that character. What happens if I get it wrong? What is the catchphrase? It's either going to be, "This is the way," or "I have spoken." I don't remember the character. I probably should. But oh. I have spoken. What is the Mandalorian's real name? I think Din Djarin, maybe? Yes, that was right. What is the mythical creature in the Mandalorian? Navarro or Mythosaurus? Mythosaurus. That seems too obvious. No, it is Mythosaurus. Wow. What droid does Mando buy from Pelimoto? RSD-4 or IG-12? RSD-4. Mandalorian's first ship is called Razor Crest or Naboo N1 Starfighter? Razor Crest. Cobb Vanth is a true Mandalorian. False. How old is Baby Yoda? 100 or 50? Hmm, 50. 50! Baby Yoda is 50. What is Mando's armor made from? Beskar. I remember that. Not Damascus, Beskar. Boom. So I discovered there's basically this little magnetic contraption in here that unlocks the drawer, like a typical kind of drawer pull. The metal piece is lifted up and then the drawer itself is unlocked, but you have to have the correct answers in each slot. And I realized that once I heard the sound when you insert it, it's like a click, and that's the magnet coming up to the top of the acrylic material and unlocking the drawer. So check this out. correct answers, and you get a laptop. Pretty cool. Oh, so this must be the new Zephyrus. Yeah, that's right, the new Zephyrus gaming laptop. And then in the other drawer, that must be the Strix. So this looks like the 16-inch version of the Strix, but it also comes in an 18-inch model. All right, so we have all the laptops set up now, and there's a total of 3 because there's actually this Strix Scar, which, to be honest, I've been using for a little while because I kind of like it. And it does have the most power of the bunch, and also this really nice 18-inch display, which on a laptop is, I mean, there have been bigger, but like that's pretty immersive in and of itself. But let's start over on this side. So this is the new Zephyrus, and this is the only one with this really cool dot display on the lid. And this thing is capable of like custom graphics. There's a couple of presets in there. It's all controlled via software. So this one has some pretty intense personalization. Now, as far as the specs on my unit that I've got here, it is 16 gigs of video memory. It has an i9-13900H. Oh, speaking of video, we are talking about NVIDIA 40 series across the entirety of the lineup here, from Zephyrus to Strix Scar. This also has 2 terabytes of PCIe SSD storage. It's got 2 times 16 gigs of memory, but of course that's also upgradable. But the best thing to do is sort of check the website to see all the different configuration options. There's different display options and lots to choose from. This one is also going to be the most portable of the 3 that we're going to look at here today. It has a 240 Hertz refresh rate, HDR 1000 display, 100% DCI-P3 coverage, NVIDIA Optimus. They claim that the CPU is cooler, 13 degrees Celsius. They kind of reconfigured some of the cooling, some of the heat pipes and fans and so forth. On the bottom here, we can see the rather large feet that this stands on, including a kind of nice ergonomically pleasing type of angle that's created by default. Now, this Zephyrus is also famous for this kind of cool hinge, which lifts up the deck of the keyboard to give you this really comfortable typing surface. And it does so without you even really thinking about it. You just lift the lid and boom, we get this kind of ramp action. Actually, this hinge is really cool. It goes all the way down. Now, how useful is that? Well, I don't know, maybe on your lap, sitting on the couch, you don't want to be restrained. So this is kind of a cool hinge design. Now, it does send some of the cooling out the backside, this vent here. And so there's also a little bit of space created between the display. We have a fairly trim bezel, especially on the sides, although we do have room at the top for our front-facing camera activities. On the right side of the device, USB-A, C, and micro SD card expansion for storage, barrel-style connector towards the back of the laptop for power, a Thunderbolt, full-size HDMI, USB-C, and a dedicated headphone jack analog. NVIDIA G-Sync, RTX as mentioned, 40 series available in here. So this is a 16-inch WQXGA panel, and it is, as you can see, like a matte finish. So not very much glare and lots of pixels. And I kind of like the idea this year with the prioritization on cooling. It keeps the fan noise down. These are gaming laptops at the end of the day. I mean, this thing is definitely not enormous, and the extra emphasis on cooling this time around keeps that fan noise down, probably helps with longevity and things like that. So I don't mind that decision at all. Okay, moving over now to the Strix. This is the 16-inch model, and the spec that I've been sent, 8 gigs of video memory on this model, i9-13980HX, and this color is gray. It has like a kind of a brushed look. It's a pretty matte finish on there, and instead of having the light up features, you have like an etched ROG logo. This one is venting out the back. It's a sort of more traditional gaming laptop hinge that's on here. Some nice design details, Republic of Gamers along the back, venting out the back. I kind of like the way they've integrated these feet, very solid, robust feet over there. Some nice little Easter eggs on the bottom. ROG built into the vent design. It looks like speakers here are going to be firing to the table. Intelligent cooling, so barrel style connector for power. We're gonna get a full-size Ethernet jack here, which is a nice touch. Full-size HDMI, couple of Thunderbolts, as well as a display port and a dedicated analog headphone, and then 2 more USB-A ports. So this one is going to win versatility or port diversity challenge up against the Zephyrus, but this is a bigger laptop as well. Now I really like this. So at the front here, we have this obvious grip point to really help you lift the display. It's a subtle thing, it's a small detail, but it is a nice touch and very obvious from a design perspective. Both are so solid, actually. The deck has almost no flex on there at all, but if I had to pick one and like portability wasn't an issue and I was just picking based on keyboard, I kind of prefer typing on this one. This one is the one that I like the most out of the bunch. It's a gaming laptop at the end of the day. This is the Strix Scar. So this has an 18-inch display on it, and resolution still WQXGA, but 18 inches, it gives you a little bit more flex for like how far you sit from the laptop. So when I was gaming on it, it's like, you know, I like to kind of configure my space in such a way where the laptop's maybe slightly further away from me and I have like an external kind of keyboard style device that I'm using and an external mouse. Not all the time, but sometimes. And then having an 18-inch display kind of lets you do that while still being at a comfortable viewing distance. 1 TB plus 1 TB. As far as storage, it's PCIe as well. 16 gigs times 2 as far as DDR5 is concerned. So 32 gigs of RAM. But it's the same as the other models. Like as far as the GPU is concerned, you can configure it with a variety of different 40 series GPUs. You can see slightly different layout on the bottom. No Easter egg here. We have this gray panel though, which is different than the other. Intelligent cooling. We have some down-firing speakers. Not necessarily ideal. I don't know how big of a consideration that is. On a gaming laptop anyways, you have so many options for audio. You're probably using a gaming headset. You have dedicated audio out, so probably not a massive deal. Another nice little touch, you have this kind of semi-transparent exterior just to give it some more uniqueness around the side of the device. Barrel style connector for power. You still get that full-size Ethernet, a full-size HDMI, 2 Thunderbolts, and there's that headset jack that I mentioned. Other side, 2 more USB-As. So similar to the non-Scar edition, and that semi-transparent thing, but like in a smoked look happening at the top part of the keyboard deck. I really like that. Look at this beautiful display. I mean, it's a big difference measured diagonally. And so it just gives you, look, it's gonna be tougher to travel with. And for me, if I'm going on a trip or something like that, I'm probably not taking a gaming laptop, and I realize that's kind of a luxury having different devices to choose from. But I want something that's easy to move from one place to the other, but not necessarily that I'm gonna be carrying for hours on end where a pound difference is gonna make a big deal. So this 18-inch is kind of, I'm willing to make the compromise on scale. RGB keyboard once again. Trackpad in this case is now offset because this unit is big enough to have a number pad if that's something that you're into. Keyboard comparison, extremely comparable. Hard to make a pick there. Probably preference to this because I've been using it a little bit more. Maybe it's a familiarity thing. Getting a phone call? Oh yeah, so that's another thing to mention. Zephyrus, no RGB light bar in the front, whereas the Strix models do. This dude got mega power. Whew, whew, whew. What a revive. It's this, like, once you get a gaming laptop that's this big, it almost feels like you're sitting in front of a gaming setup. I think it's something to do with like having the taller display as well. Like it's more comfortable than, I'm feeling less of a an inclination to kind of hunch. I don't mind being back here. I just feel like the ergonomics are better with an 18-inch gaming laptop. Now, the other thing that I noticed as far as the fans are concerned is that when the laptop is actively charging, obviously a lot of the time that you're using it, you're gonna have it plugged in. It's at 100% now. When it's actively charging, sometimes the fans can be a little bit louder, but like this level of fan noise right here, I'm getting 240 frames in a game I like to play, like this is totally acceptable to me. And we already talked about how a lot of people when they're gaming, they have their headset on anyways. By the way, this is all configurable via Armory Crate. You have your GPU mode here, standard, eco, optimized, or ultimate. These settings are for your CPU. Your CPU has Windows, silent, performance, turbo, or manual. So you can kind of dial it exactly as you please. You want better performance, possibly a little bit more fan, okay, go that way. You want more power saving, more battery life, you're using for productivity or Windows, okay, toggle to that setting. And you can have that automatically happen when you plug it in with your different preferences or when you launch a game. All right, so you can get the Strix or the Strix Scar. The Scar sits at the very top with the premium price tag to match for those that just want the ultimate gaming experience and don't care about the price tag. However, it's important to note that for most people, they're gonna get plenty of frames and a great experience on the other Strix models as well that start at a lower price point. And even if you want this 18-inch display, you can dial it down to like a 4070, 4060, even all the way down to a 4050 in the regular Strix G18 non-Scar model. And the same applies for the 16-inch variants if you prefer a more trim form factor. So there's lots to choose from. You absolutely don't need the Scar model, but I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit of fun.